Yeah, go ahead.
When we've heard people talk about this, I've heard responses saying, well, you know, we see these buses going by that are empty.
Right.
Is the city of Nashville doing anything to promote more people using the bus?
Right.
They have empty buses available, so it's not an issue.
Sure.
But can it become an issue and buses be part of it?
Right, yeah, and that's why in Denver, one of the things that I thought was so great was this bus rapid transit, which was, you know, getting people from county to county, but really more of a coach, like a Wi-Fi coach. So if you made a bus, honestly, nicer for commuters, would that draw more people in? You need robust service, you need predictability, and you need consistency, and that's one thing I don't think they have. Yes, ma'am?
I come from Santa Monica.
Okay.
It's 8 square miles of congestion.
Yeah.
And we've done an amazing job in Santa Monica with putting in the big blue bus and promoting it.
Uh-huh.
The metro line now comes from downtown LA straight to Santa Monica.
Okay.
There's, and we can put you in touch with some of the people that have implemented some of these things because Santa Monica has come so far.
Right.
And if you're visiting other cities, I highly suggest you visit Santa Monica.
Okay.
Because they definitely have this place.
Sounds great, actually. Visit Santa Monica? I'd be happy to. Yeah, I think we all like to visit Santa Monica. Yes.
Santa Monica has implemented.
Right. Yeah, we'll go. We'll take a book collection. No, and I think that's, and that again goes back to why we pick these cities. So we've done Denver, we've done Austin, we've done DC, we're doing Dallas later this year. And it really is, what are they doing and what are peer communities to Williamson County? What can we learn from them? What to do and what not to do. Austin has some great lessons on what not to do. Denver has some good lessons on what to do. So I think that's really important.
Well, the other thing that's really important there is that Santa Monica is also a separate city government from Los Angeles.
Right.
So you have the same issue here with separate.
Sure.
And Nashville, so.
Yeah.
That will.
Yeah. And we could talk traffic this whole time. I do want to move on and try to get to the other topics, but this is a good, Curry, one last thing to finish this up.
It said this morning in your newsletter that 93 mayors in the region are getting together to try and implement a program by 2021.
Yeah, that would be, I assume that's the GNRC, the Greater National Regional Council's group that is really trying to find a solution to region-wide transportation. They've set up a website, I can't recall it offhand, but I'd say it's not a relatively new issue, it's the next push for it. And they had an event late last year where Governor Lee basically blessed the idea and TDOT looked to be more involved and engaged in the process. So that's a good way to end it. So we'll go next to interest still in relocations to Williamson County. That's really easy because yes, there still is interest. And I think that underscores the question, I know as business owners, you'd always want to know, when's the next recession coming, right? Everything that we've seen doesn't indicate it's around the corner. There's still a lot of construction activity. There's still interest in our community. We're actively working 34 projects. A project refers to a company looking to relocate or expand in Williamson County. We just had someone in yesterday. We had someone in last week. They're smaller companies, but you know there still is a lot of interest in Williamson County in the Nashville region. So any follow-up on that? You want to add any context? Yeah. Okay. That's pretty easy one to answer. Yes. The biggest issue that I think that we maybe not have that doesn't typically come up. You know, I hear about transportation, I hear about housing a lot. Housing is a big issue. When companies, especially that are here, or companies that are looking, the average home price sometimes scares them away. You know, one of the big concerns with companies is when their employees are priced out of neighborhoods and unemployment's so low, they worry about employee retention long term. And what does that look like? So we've been working with the city of Franklin for almost a year on what kind of proposal, what can we do that would help incentivize developers to build what we call attainable housing. That's the $300,000 to $350,000 range. What sort of concessions can the city make, can the developer make, what can the banking community do? What can we do to create some of that housing stock in the city of Franklin? And hoping that could spread throughout Williamson County. So I would say of the issues that aren't mentioned, it's probably housing that I probably see the most. Yeah?
What about the seniors on housing?
Senior housing?
Yes.
I mean, I would say because of our clientele is typically people that are still in the workforce, that's what we hear about more. I know we probably do a ribbon cutting once every month or so for active senior community, mostly in the city of Franklin, that are building those active senior communities. And I guess that's an issue in Brentwood, is that right?
It's been discussed.
It's been discussed many times. Well, I'm not going to get into that then. I'll let you guys handle that one. But yeah, anything else about housing from your perspective and maybe even what you've seen? Because I mean, a lot of what drives the issues that we face are around growth in our tight labor market. I mean, that's it. Yeah.
Are you able to share, and I know it's not your entity per se, it'd be more county question, but where do we stand on the home builders lawsuit pushing back against the
right.
the fees?
Yeah, so the question's about the impact fee that was, it was implemented probably 2 or 3 years ago and collected. It just hasn't been, I guess, it hasn't been used yet. So it's in litigation. The county mayor, I believe, thinks it might make it up to the state Supreme Court, but from what I understand, the commission feels like they have a strong case, and they feel like they will eventually win that. And I think it's around $40 million that's been collected so far on that. So basically, that will help with school renovation and construction. If we think about our scope of work as an organization, 3 things really come to the top. And it's not necessarily what we think, it's what we hear from our constituency, the business community. It's housing, it's transportation, and it's education funding. And that's exactly why we led the sales tax campaign a couple years ago to help school construction and renovation. So we're involved in this Attainable Housing Initiative, and it's why we're trying to do everything we can to help find solutions for traffic and transportation. So that's kind of our scope of work. All right, so the next one, that's a good lead into schools. Sheila, you want to just take this?
I could answer that question, sure.
Yeah, you want to answer the question?
Yeah, I'll answer
Yeah.
the question. We just, the county commission just approved a approximately $330 million budget on our 5-year capital plan. And right now we've got probably 8 schools planned for the next 5 years. They're going to be built. And we have, we just opened up Creekside. We just did ribbon cutting. We have another elementary school going up on Impact Lane. That was just called Legacy. And and then with the places we're going to put them, it's where the land is and what's affordable. We have a lot of land we are scoping out, one in the Triune area that we're now doing due diligence as far as the, making sure the soil and everything else is correct, and we're able to build a school there. That will be an elementary school that the deal goes through. Another placement is going to, we hope, it would be the kind of northwest area, another high school, not necessarily this immediate area where I would like to see it, and again, it all depends where we can acquire the land, but more over maybe by the 99 McCatcher area. And so right now, those are the only ones planned. We're always looking for land.
One more. The middle school next to Jordan Elementary.
Yes, we've got the middle school next to Jordan Elementary, Jordan Middle School, and that one, we've already acquired the land, and that's going up. So we've got a lot, and then we've got Brentwood, for those who are Brentwood, we've got Brentwood High that will start breaking ground on the face of it. The renovation after the school year, and it should be completed in June of 2021. And then that's when I'm going to start my campaign along with some other people. We're going to try to push the total reconstruction of Brentwood Middle. Just level it and get it back out. And we're hoping, it's on the capital plan, that's the start. So obviously it's all about funding, and we're hoping that will be 23, 24 when it's completed. So how that's going to be done is another story. We've got to get the engineers, whether we, like Page Middle School, we took a section, built up 3 stories, moved people in, or are we just going to level it, build in back of it, build middle school, and then level Brentwood Middle, and then use that as fields, parking area. So that's still in the works. That's it.
That's great. That's great, Sheila. I think this room probably knows this, but you've got a great school board member in Sheila Dickens, so thank you for all of I'll just talk about the why for a second of schools. If you've heard me speak, you may have heard this before, but every community across America has a tangible economic asset. If you think about Memphis, they've got the airport for FedEx. If you think about a place like Savannah, Georgia, they've got a deep water port for all the cargo ships that come in and out. We have our school system. It's not a tangible asset, but I would argue it's even more real than those. And that's really what this economy has been based on for the last, 10 to 15 years. And it's really interesting. There was a time when our profession made a switch from real estate being the most important to talent being the most important. And that's where we are right now. And when we're working with the company to relocate or expand in Williamson County, again, to create those careers and career path for the people we care about, you really have to answer the talent questions. Can they relocate the talent from their existing facility, like a Mitsubishi from California? Can they find talent here locally? And then can they recruit talent from across the globe? If you can answer those three things, you are much more likely to win that project and create those career opportunities for our friends, family, and neighbors. Anything else about schools? I mean, that pretty well covers it, I think. Okay, I'll take yes, good, yes, sir.
Can public employees afford to live in Williamson County for the future? You hire new teachers and...
No, they can't. That's exactly the issue. Yeah, no, they can't. I mean, we know teachers cannot afford to live here.
What's the solution?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, that's why we've been working, again, with the City of Franklin on attainable housing, a proposal that, again, not to get too much in the weeds, it would basically offset the fees a developer would have to pay if they agreed to build that house in that $300,000 range. Yes, please do.
We do have incentives for teachers so to come in. And one of them is if they're, say, live in Davidson County and they can bring their child to school. So we do have incentives to help bring the workforce into us.
Right. And it's interesting, this is how you connect this transportation and housing. If you had a robust transportation system, this wouldn't be as big of an issue. People would have that reliable way to get to their place of employment. So that's how you can't really separate any of these issues. And when we go to these other regions, we're looking at all three because they're all interconnected. But yeah, that's a great question. Right now, no, they can't. I mean, the average home price in the county is $545, I think. So that is definitely a big challenge. So that, again, I've got 5 minutes left. I'm watching the clock, don't worry. So the next question is the population growth. How do you plan for it, and how much growth is enough? I think, and I know we are so blessed on the legacy of people like Mike Walker, like Jay, like our other city managers throughout Williamson County, our county mayor, that have been working through this issue for decades in some cases. And so, I don't think this is any surprise. I haven't seen the methodology behind the latest numbers that scare everybody, but I know the predictions. Have you seen the methodology behind those?
I just did a rough ballpark. If we had 300,000 new people in the next 20 years?
Yeah.
That's 94,000 housing units.
Right.
Where are they going to go?
That's
just stunning.
Again, is there media in here? Am I off the record? If I'm off the record, and I am off the record because I said it, I honestly don't know how accurate that was.
Good.
I really don't, and I know, it's not coincidental. They released it as they were pushing for some other things, right? So I almost feel like, okay, it's one thing to make these projections, another thing if you're using it for other reasons, and I'm just not sure that's accurate. I mean, I just know what know in 20 years, right? But I just don't. Again, it doesn't seem to make sense. I know there's an effort by the county commission to limit the growth from housing units in the east and west side of the county to create that rural fill or maintain it from going from 1 acre density to 5 acre density. So I just don't know that that's true.
And you take in, I don't envision radical change in housing policy in Brentwood with 1 acre density.
Right.
So are they all going to live in Franklin?
Right.
Or in Spring Hill?
Right.
I mean, it's just stunning, that
Right.
number, 94,000.
And how big would those cities have to grow to accommodate that too,
Yeah.
right? I don't know, which goes back to the, how much growth is too much, right, conversation. I think that, and I think a better question is how do we grow in the way that maintains the character of the community? Because that's what this is all about. Franklin and Brentwood have done a great job in making sure that with the 1 acre density, you have the landscape, and in Franklin particularly with some of the old buildings, with some, the Heritage Foundation saving places that matter. We've been really thoughtful about balancing growth and preservation. So I don't know about that. But I do feel great, getting a chance to know the city leaders and the county leadership, and I think everybody does a really good job, one, in working together. I mean, that's something that we see all the time, planning together. The city of Franklin just met with the county commission to figure out how do we make this all work. So again, I don't know. I don't know if I buy that projection. You know, and I would definitely take your word for it too, Mike. You've got a little experience of that. Yeah. Any thoughts or questions about that? About population growth or growth in the community? Yeah.
You just talked about the impact fees. I know there's an argument whether they're in, and I've heard this argument before, that these people are bringing kids into the community, which is why we have those schools and all that. So, you know, that's one side of the coin, and I know there's older people out there that don't want to pay that.
Sure.
So you think we're gonna probably lose that argument?
Which, about the fees? You know, and again, you can make arguments philosophically. I mean, let's do what we normally do. How many people are from Williamson County? Look here, that are in this room. Originally from Williamson County. Born here. Who's born here? How many hands? No, Williamson. How many are born in Williamson? 3 people out of how many? 80? 70? Yeah. I mean, there you go. That's it, right? I mean, none of us are really from here.
All the rest of you should leave.
There you go. And there's the point, right? I mean, and that's where the notion of being an authentically welcoming community, I think, is really important. Yeah, build the wall, right? It's really, really important. And again, I know there are challenges to growth. I'm not minimizing those. You heard Sheila talk about what it takes for schools. But if you were in my town of Fort Smith, Arkansas, you would be having an entirely different conversation at a Rotary Club meeting. So I think a lot of it is be thankful for the kind of challenges we have. How do we work together? How do we solve these things? And how do we continue to make us authentically welcome communities to the companies and the people that are creating opportunities for our kids and our grandkids? It's 12:55, so thank you for having me. Thanks for the conversation, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Matt, so much for informing us and giving us some things to think about, and we're glad you're here. Okay, everybody, I want to give you a couple of updates real quickly. Rod Freeman had back surgery yesterday. They did a fusion on his L4 to L5 region. He is doing okay. He's still in the hospital, and we're hoping he comes home relatively soon. Update on John Stokes. I'm going to tell you guys, it's an answer to prayers. John went to the doctor yesterday, and he is in remission. So, wanted to let everybody know he doesn't have to go back for another scan for another 6 months, and that he hopes to be back with us at Rotary. So, just wanted to let everybody know that as well. Please keep in your prayers, Roger Wheelwright. Oh, there he is. We're so glad you're here with us again this week, and Lynn McGill as well. Also wanted to tell you, Donna Weeks' 91-year-old mother is about to undergo some pretty serious medical issues, some surgery. And so she is with her mom this week. She should be back next week, but in a couple more weeks when they actually have the surgery, she'll be out. So just kind of keep her in your thoughts and prayers, and give her a call and just let her know you're thinking about them. Betsy Crossley, her husband George had knee surgery yesterday on a torn meniscus and I think ACL as well. So keep Betsy and George in your thoughts and prayers as well. If you don't mind, remember to put up the tables and chairs, and if there's nothing else, for the good of Rotary, we are adjourned.